Shalom, shalom, shalom. I'd like to start off this lesson by giving all honor, praises, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Acha Kodash. Double honors to my teachers, the elder apostles, the elder bishops of Great Millstone, teaching and ruling well. Peace, salutations, and blessings unto the hopeful elect of the house of Israel. As the title entails, mastery of a thing. The mastery of a thing. So let's go into the word mastery. The mastery in the Merriam-Webster goes into the authority of a master, dominion, the upper hand in a contest or competition, superiority, ascendancy, possession or display of great skill or technique, skill or knowledge that makes one master of a subject, command, authority, power, dominion. Okay, that's what comes with mastery. Okay, and in this truth, okay, yes, you're built up to become a master. You're built up to become a judge, a perfect judge in the sense, in the sight of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. You're groomed to make decisions. We're groomed to become masters. Okay, and it starts first with gaining the mastery of the self. Okay, be able to control yourself. Because if you can't control yourself, how are you able to control things the outside? Okay, if you can't control the inward, how can you control the outward? Okay, you see, but again, we understand that Yahweh is in control of everything. Okay, but again, to obtain the mastery, how can you obtain such a thing? Okay, power, dominion, superiority, command. It all starts with giving something up, and that goes into giving up your time. Okay, it says here. Okay, let me bring it out. Mastery. It says here. Where is it? Sirach 6 and 37 to the point. Let thy mind, your heart, be upon the ordinances of the Lord, and meditate continually in his commandments, day in and day out, in season and out of season. You're constantly thinking about the kingdom, constantly thinking about how to please Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, how to implement judgment, okay, how to follow after what is right in the sight of the Lord. Okay, he shall establish thine heart and give thee wisdom at thine own desire. Okay, so as much as you want to follow the Lord, as much as you put your hand to the plow, that's as much reward you're gonna get. Okay, but again, the point was to meditate continually in the commandments. So that goes into you giving up your time. Okay, to constantly think it at work, when you, from the moment you wake up, you send up prayers. Okay, when you make time to congregate with the brotherhood. Okay, you make time to make videos. Okay, you make time to study. That goes into your leisure. Okay, you see, that's how you obtain the mastery of a thing. Okay, you see, repetition, constantly going into in the subject, as it says here. um it says here, 1 Corinthians 9, and I'll go straight to the point in 25. And every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things. He striveth for the mastery. Okay, so let's go back into that same word, mastery, but in the blue letter this time. Okay, and that was 1 Corinthians 9 and 25. Okay, every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate. Okay, we're gonna go into these words. Okay, 1 Corinthians 9 and 25. And it reads again, and every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things. Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we an incorruptible. So how much more are we supposed to be even more fervent than these people? Put in perspective, athletes, how they give up everything in their lives so that they can be at the peak of their performance. That way that they can be at the peak of their discipline, at the peak of their at the height of their element. Okay, let's say LeBron James, what he had to sacrifice to 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 be at the level that he plays at. Kobe Bryant, okay, Jordan, okay, all these great names, Mike Tyson, which regardless of what discipline they're in, sports, whether it's music, whether it's arts, okay, how much they had to abstain from in the world to focus on the mastery of their craft so that they can be on the level that they're in today. Okay, so again, strive it for the mastery. It says here, the word strive it for the mastery goes into, it says here, to enter a contest, contend in gymnastic games, to contend with an adversary, fight. Okay, because again, they're fighting against themselves. First of all, like I mentioned, they have to give up things, okay, to obtain the level that they're at. To obtain the mastery of a thing, you must give up other things, okay. And just as in order to obtain the kingdom, you have to go through straits, okay, through much tribulation you will obtain the kingdom of heaven. And those tribulations, the main tribulation comes from within, okay, fighting your flesh, the spirit fighting your flesh, okay. A lot of times it says the spirit is willing but the flesh is weak, okay. And there's an inner battle that the flesh is fighting against the spirit and the spirit is fighting against the flesh, okay. But again, you walking according to righteousness, you walking according to the will of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, the spirit should win the majority of the time, okay. Yes, you may fall here and there, but the spirit has to sustain you, not the flesh, okay. So yes, you might fall, you might lose some battles, but ultimately, the spirit has to win the majority of the battles. Okay, that's how, and that would prove that you're fighting and resisting the devil. If you're not resisting the devil, you will lose those battles every time. Okay, so it says here to contend with an adversary, fight. Metaphor, to contend, struggle with difficulties and dangers, to endeavor with strenuous zeal, strive to obtain something, to obtain the mastery, okay, to obtain the kingdom, to obtain the love of the Most High, the good graces of the Most High, okay. Because again, it says that he loved before we even loved him, he loved us. So we already have the love of the Lord, okay. Because just as being Israelites, we already obtained the love of the Lord. We already obtained salvation, okay, through the sacrifice of Yahweh Shai, okay. But on this side, only the hopeful elect will obtain that mercy, okay. And we strive to obtain, we strive to be a part of that number. That's what we're striving for, okay. You see, and the word temperate, it says here, self-controlled, continent, to exhibit self-government, conduct oneself temperately, okay. In a figure drawn from athletes, again, like I mentioned, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Jordan, Mike Tyson, all these great athletes that had to suffer and go through great straits to get to the level that they're in, okay. They had to sacrifice a lot of their times, a lot of they chose suffering rather than pleasure, so to get to the level that they're in, okay. You see, to get to the heights of the level that they're at, okay, they had to put off a lot of pleasure. They had to fight the flesh to get to that level. So how much more we seek it to obtain the kingdom of heaven, okay, an eternal reward, okay. In the figure drawn from athletes who preparing themselves from game, abstain, that's the word, abstaining from fleshy endeavors, from wholesome foods, wine, and sexual indulgence. Okay, so putting those things aside so that you can serve the Lord more effectively. Okay, because again, what did Peter say? Let me see. Matthew's 19 and 27. Then answered Peter and said unto him, Behold, we have forsaken all and followed thee. What shall we have therefore? The mastery. The mastery, because again, we went to the word mastery. It says what? Dominion, power. Okay? It says here, and Yahushua said unto them, verily I say unto you, that ye which have followed me in the regeneration of the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his glory. Salakia, Salakia. That's Satan. It says here, verily I say unto you, they that ye which have followed me in the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his glory, ye also shall sit upon 12 thrones. Ye shall also obtain mastery. In a sense, ye will also obtain dominion, power. Okay? Judging the 12 tribes of Israel. Judging, as I mentioned, walking, being in this truth. This is a class. This is a rulership 101. Okay? To be able to judge righteously. Okay? Because again, the throne of the Most High is what? Judgment and justice. So when we establish judgment upon the earth, is going to be according to righteousness. Just as Yahweh Shai has the same mind as Yahweh, we would have the same mind as Yahweh Shai, meaning that all the decisions that we will make in those spiritual bodies will be according to the will of the Lord. Okay, we will not go off in the decisions that we make once we're changed. Okay, but right now we're exercising the righteous acts, meaning that what? Okay, we're exercising ourselves in the practice, okay, of making the right decisions, making decisions that are right in the sight of the Lord, man, even in the flesh. Okay, because when we're in the spirit, when we have the eternal bodies, that those decisions are going to be made automatically. Okay, and we're not gonna make mistakes in the decisions that we make. Okay, the only reason that we make mistakes now is because of the flesh. Okay, you see. But again, that's what we will obtain, following after Yahweh Shai, abstaining and forsaking all. We're gonna obtain the mastery, power over the nations, rulership, dominion. That's what comes with following after righteousness. That's what comes with striving for the mastery. Okay, you see. So it says here. Okay, let me see. But again, as I mentioned in the definitions, as it says, in conjunction with athletes, okay, how they sacrifice their own pleasures to strive to obtain greatness. Okay, it's even Yahweh Shai had to go and fast for 40 years, so like for 40 days. Okay, he had to abstain from the flesh to prepare himself for the walk that he had to walk. Okay, let me bring that out. Matthews 4. And it says here, Matthew 4:1, then was Yahushua led up of the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted of the devil. And when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he was afterward a hungered. So again, the what's the reason why Yahushua fasted those 40 days and those 40 nights? To obtain the mastery of over the flesh. Okay? So that during his walk he wouldn't be distracted, okay, by the fleshly endeavors. Okay, because to fast 40 days and 40 nights, you have to be on a level, man. Okay, and he overcame. And when the tempter came to him, he said, if thou be the Son of Man, command these stones to be made bread. But he answered and said, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeded out of the mouth of the Most High. So that's that battle. Okay, Satan came to test his mastery. Okay, Satan came to test his self-control, but Yahweh Shai overcame through the Spirit, just as we will also overcome through Yahweh Shai. Okay. Then the devil taketh him up into the holy city and set him on the pinnacle of the temple, and said unto him, if thou be the Son of the Most High, cast thyself down, for it is written, he shall give his angels charge concerning thee, and in their hands they shall bear thee up, lest at any time thou shalt dash thy foot against the stone. And Yahweh said unto him, it is written again, thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy power. And the devil taketh him up into an exceeding high mountain, and sheweth him all the kingdoms of the world, and all the glory of them, and said unto him, all these things will I give thee, if thou wilt fall down and worship me. And then Yahushua said unto him, Get thee hence, Satan, for it is written, Thou shalt worship the Lord thy power, and him only shalt thou serve. Then the devil leaveth him. Then the devil leaveth him. Okay? Once Yahushua overcame the flesh, the devil leaveth him. There's another precept where it says that he left him for a season because the devil is always there looking to bring down the elect, man. Okay? Because it's a constant battle. You're not gonna win today and you'll never have to face Satan again. No, Satan is a constant adversary that keeps coming back. That's why you always have to keep your head on the swivel. That's why you have to be circumspect, understanding the wiles of the devil. Okay? You see? Then the devil leaveth him because why? Yahushua overcame. He overcame the flesh and he overcame Satan. He resisted. Okay? And behold, angels came and ministered unto him. And just as we have to have the same mind as Yahushua, once we resist the devil, we're strengthened in the spirit. Okay? Because count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptation because the Lord is dealing with you. Okay? So when you face these temptations and you overcome, that's a boost in the spirit. Okay? You see? But again, that was an example of Yahushua, how he had mastery over the flesh and over the wiles of Satan, how he was able to resist his own lust, his own desires, being in straits, being hungered. He did not fall for the wiles of the devil, and he fought a good fight, and he overcame. Okay, even to the point where angels came to minister unto him, meaning that what the Lord was with him. The Lord was with him even in his temptation. Okay, and that's why you have to keep in mind when you're going through things, the Lord is still there with you. You're not there by yourself, man. Okay? No, is thou not that Hamashiach is within you, lest thou be a reprobate. The Lord is with us, man. Okay, and we have to know that, man. Okay? Even in hell, the Lord is there with us. So all we have to do is have faith. Okay, and keep striving for that mastery. Keep fighting that good fight of faith, man. Okay? You see? Let me see. For time's sake, let me see if I can bring out two more precepts, and I'm gonna close it pertaining to mastery. Oh, let's go back to 1 Corinthians 9. Let's finish 1 Corinthians 9 and I'll close out. Because again, that's the whole purpose of being self-controlled. Okay, so back to 2 Corinthians 9 and 25. I read that again. And every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things. Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we an incorruptible. Therefore so run I. So like I therefore so run, not as uncertainly, so fight I, not as one that beateth the air. But we keep but I keep under my body. Again, being self-controlled. Okay, not letting your lust control over you, not serving your own belly, but being moderate, temperate, okay, being spiritual rather than fleshly, okay, and bringing into subjection. You're not subject to your desires, but rather you control your desires. Okay, you're the one that's in control, not your body. Okay, your spirit is in control, not your body. Like I said before, the spirit overcomes the flesh more than the flesh overcomes the spirit. Okay, lest by any means, when I have preached unto others, I myself should be a castaway. Okay, so we do all these things. We exercise temperate self-control. We exercise abstinence from fleshly endeavors, fleshly desires, so that we can obtain the kingdom of heaven, so that we can obtain mastery of the self. Okay, and again, how to obtain mastery, that goes into the time that you spend doing something. Okay, mastery comes from experience. Experience comes from uh exercise. Okay, experience comes from you exercising your faith. Okay, they're going through experiences, tribulation, hardship, hell, catching hell, the time that you spend reading, the time that you spend abstaining from the ways of the world, the time that you meditate on the ways of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And let me finish with this to bring it full circle, because the Yahushai, okay, he was what? He was focused on the work. Okay, it says here, I was Mark 14 and 49. I was daily with you in the temple teaching. Yahushua was teaching every day. He wasn't taking a break. That's going back to meditating continually. That was something that Yahushua was exercising to the fullest. Yahushua was continually in the spirit, continually thinking about how he could serve the Lord. And that's the mind that we have to have, man. That's the mindset that we have to have. I was daily with you in the temple teaching, and ye took me not, but the scriptures must be fulfilled. And the scriptures will be fulfilled, man. Okay? You see? And that's why and that's our hope. That's what we're striving for. That's what we're expecting, that the scriptures be fulfilled and that Yahushua must return, okay, and establish righteousness on the earth, okay. But just as Yahushua was teaching daily, that has to be in our mind also, to do the work of the Lord each and every day, continually seeking the kingdom, and seeking the kingdom first, okay, above everything else, doing the work of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, and doing what is pleasing in the Lord's eyes. All right. So, Lord willing, this was edifying. I'd like to give our honor, praises, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Achak, Kodash. Until next lesson, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom. Keep striving for that mastery. Shalom.